Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us here today. My name is Jeff Thomas. I'm the Executive Deputy Director here at PEMA. As you may know, the 2020 Atlantic hurricane season started on June 1st and runs through the end of November. The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration Hurricane Seasonal Outlook for this year was released late last month and predicts a 60% chance of an above-average season. An average season would bring us about 12 named storms here in Pennsylvania with 3 major hurricanes. The prediction for this year is 13 to 19 storms, which is many as 6 of those categorized as major hurricanes. Regardless of how many storms form in the Atlantic, we all know too well that it only takes one to cause significant issues for us in Pennsylvania. While we don't typically see direct hurricane strikes in Pennsylvania, we know that tropical storm systems have brought tremendous destruction to our communities over the years, primarily from inland flooding. The names of Agnes, Irene, and Lee spark immediate and many painful memories for those of us who have lived through a lot of those storms. But even without a named storm, summertime in Pennsylvania brings with it the possibility of severe weather that can cause damaging winds, deadly flooding, and devastating tornadoes. Just last week, a fast-moving and large band of thunderstorms produced significant wind damage, resulting in 4 deaths in a matter of less than 10 minutes in southeastern Pennsylvania. And as recently as 2018, which was the wettest year on record for many parts of the state, we saw the effects of non-tropical weather systems that bring overwhelming physical, economic, and social change to our towns. No matter what weather we see here in Pennsylvania this summer, we need to take advantage of the time available to us to get ready. One of the best ways to prepare for severe weather is by purchasing flood insurance. Regular homeowners insurance doesn't cover damage from flooding. The data from the Federal Emergency Management Agency shows that just a single inch of water on the first floor of your home will cause about $25,000 worth of damage. That's $25,000 in repairs that you would need to cover out of your own pocket. And that's a financial hurdle that many people simply just can't overcome. Federal standards for assistance to homeowners after disasters are more stringent than ever. But even then, the federal financial aid was not and never was intended to make you completely whole. That's what makes flood insurance so important. Flood insurance is available to homeowners and renters no matter where you live. There's a common misconception that flood insurance is available only to those who live in federally designated floodplains, but that's just not true. As a matter of fact, since 1993, more than 90% of the flood reports to the National Weather Service in Pennsylvania have happened outside of those identified flood zones. In 2018, there were many flooding survivors who told us stories that they'd never seen flooding in their community, let alone in their individual neighborhoods. The fact that your home isn't in a flood zone doesn't protect you from that danger. The Pennsylvania Insurance Department has a lot of resources available on their website at insurance.pa.gov under the Coverage tab at the top of the page. And although flood insurance has traditionally only been available to homeowners or renters through the National Flood Insurance Program, flood insurance is now available through private insurers in Pennsylvania. So in purchasing flood insurance, it's important that you consider the kind of coverage you really need. Insurers write different types of flood insurance. They write dwelling policies, which, as it says, is for the actual structure, and then they write contents, which is your property within that dwelling. We encourage you to seriously consider purchasing flood insurance policy to protect your family from the financial impacts of a flooding event. And what I would encourage you to do is don't delay in doing that, because it can happen, it can take up to 30 days for a policy to take effect. Another way to make sure that you're prepared for severe weather is to make sure you have multiple ways to get weather alerts. A NOAA weather radio is an inexpensive and portable option that provides location-based weather alerts. Most models are battery-operated, but others can be powered by a USB connection, solar-powered, or by a crank that charges an internal battery to store power. A weather radio may be the best way to wake you during an overnight event. Think of it like a smoke alarm for dangerous weather. Many local media provide local weather alerts via text messages, social media, or apps that can be downloaded to your cell phones. Select one or more trusted media outlets. You can also sign up for Alert PA notifications by code RED for emergency and weather-related alerts, health notifications, building alerts, and other updates from Commonwealth and federal agencies. You can find information about Alert PA online at ready.pa.gov under the Be Informed tab at the top of the page. Keep in mind you should never have to pay for weather alerts, other than the data text or texting charges you may be charged by your wireless carrier. Weather alerts save lives because they are a quick way to learn about the threats so you can take action to protect yourself and your loved ones. At times, that action may require you to leave your home or shelter in a building for safety. For more details on how to protect yourself from your family in times of emergency, particularly as we face the COVID-19 pandemic, I'm pleased to introduce Baer Schinsky, Deputy Secretary for Health Preparedness and Community Protection at the Department of Health. Ray?
Good afternoon, and thank you, Jeff. Summer is a time when many people spend time outdoors. However, summer also brings extreme weather. In Pennsylvania, as Jeff mentioned, we experience extreme heat and dangerous storms that sometimes bring flash flooding, river flooding, lightning, damaging winds, and even potentially tornadoes. Even as we speak, emergency managers, public health professionals, as well as state, county, and local officials are taking measures to reduce the possible spread of COVID-19 among people who seek safety in a disaster. You can be preparing for a severe weather incident as well by knowing where to shelter if you do not typically shelter at home, following guidance on when as well as where to shelter, staying informed with weather alerts through cell phone alerts, NOAA weather radios, or even Twitter alerts, and preparing an emergency kit with personal items you may need in an emergency. A little bit more about these emergency kits. They should be stocked with essential items. There should be food and water for at least 3 days. It's important to include necessary medications and a first aid kit. It should also include specialized items as needed, including baby supplies and even pet food. And it's recommended that emergency kits should be updated with COVID-19 protective supplies, such as masks, hand sanitizer, and even potentially medication. It's important to remember that any actions to protect yourself from immediate threats to life safety must take priority, such as sheltering during severe weather. However, whenever possible, all COVID-19 protective action guidance should be followed as long as it doesn't slow response or cause greater harm. It's essential we act now to prepare for severe weather this summer. Pennsylvanians should also be aware of the extreme heat we often see during summertime in Pennsylvania. Remember to wear lightweight, loose-fitting clothing and light-colored clothing. Remember to wear a hat or visor, sunglasses, and utilize SPF 30 or higher sunscreen. It is also critical to stay hydrated. Remember to drink plenty of water throughout the day. Don't wait until you get thirsty. And if the heat is too extreme, limit outdoor exercise or strenuous activities during the hottest part of the day. For more resources on what to include in your emergency kit or even preparedness tips for extreme weather, you can visit health.pa.gov. Thank you. Jeff and I are willing to take questions.
You can be first.
Do I need a microphone? Okay. Traditionally, the state and/or municipalities would provide some kind of center, especially for elderly people who may not have air conditioning, for which it would be dangerous, but those are closed right now because of COVID. Are there any options in place to help those people who don't have air conditioning at home?
Okay.
We're going to do-see-do.
So typically what you're talking about are cooling stations. And as a matter of fact, we did check with a lot of the counties, especially where there were power outages. And they will typically, there's a threshold before they open them. It's usually a number of 90-degree days in a row. We didn't hit that, and the power was restored enough so they didn't need to open any. But we know at least the counties where the power was out, we did check with them. They do have plans, and they do have plans for social distancing should they need to open those. Anything else?
Yes, one more question. In the event of an emergency, what kind of COVID mitigation efforts would be at shelters or places where they distribute food that generally have lots of people?
Yeah.
Valid question. We would ask those areas to make sure that people are masked before they came in. We would probably be looking at temperature scans as well, such as what you went through on your way into this building today. And we would try to get people to social distance as much as humanly possible. We're still trying to flatten the curve, and we've seen success with those specific public health measures. Anything additional? Okay, well, on behalf of Pima and myself, thank you very much.